Hi, welcome to Travelogue. I'm Mark Edwards. Now, you're probably wondering what this sweeping mountainside metropolis is behind me. Well, it's Chongqing. It was once China's wartime capital and is one of the 4 cities in the country that enjoys the same importance as the provinces. As Southwest China's largest and most populated cities, it's a wonderful mix of tradition and modernity. And it's famous, I've been told, for hot pot, hot views, like the one we've got here, and also hot girls. Let's go and explore. Hot is the word of the day and of the trip. The weather's on our side and it's time to spend a day discovering what Chongqing has to offer. It takes around 2.5 hours to fly from Beijing to Chongqing, and only 2 from Hong Kong. But as soon as you get in, you better get moving, as there's so much to do. Chongqing is much more than just a place to kill time before you take your 3 gorgeous cruise. Perched on steep hills overlooking the point where the Yangtze and Jialing rivers converge, it's a bustling metropolis that 5 million people call home. If anything, Chongqing is a city where old and new sit comfortably together, the traditional and the modern juxtaposed along Chongqing's rolling hills. Every travel destination has its list of things to do, places to see and things to eat, which is lucky for us, otherwise we'd be out of a job. And Chongqing is certainly no different. It means double happiness or repeated good luck. This is because Emperor Zhaodun, almost 1,000 years ago, had previously been made the prince of the city. And on becoming emperor, he changed the name in celebration of these 2 happy events. The city is an adventure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as it is arguably even more impressive at night when the lights turn Chongqing into a visual feast. Geographically, Chongqing puts me in the mind of a koala bear hugging a tree. The city is the koala and the mountains are the trees. With this in mind, there are many different forms of transport to take you around the city. However, unlike the majority of Chinese cities, you'll find bicycles more conspicuous by their absence. And having seen the steepness of many of the Chongqing roads, it's easy to understand why. It's also worth noting that the city is filled with long staircases and escalators, again thanks to the numerous hills. So you might be used to taking a train to work, a bus to work, even a subway to work. Here in Chongqing, we take what is called a bus in the air. That is a cable car that goes from one side city to the other across the river. It costs 2 kwai. I'm going to go and jump on. There are actually 2 cable cars in Chongqing. One runs across the Jialing River and the other across the Yangtze. For tourists, it can be a fun new way to travel. But this is how a large proportion of the Chongqing population gets to work every day. If you're just doing it for fun, try to avoid making your maiden voyage in the morning or late afternoon, as you'll find them packed to the rafters with commuters. I was clearly far more excited than everyone else there. It must have looked like a goofy idiot to all those working Chongqingers. It's just a standard form of transportation for the majority of these people. So I'm sat here in the cable car in Chongqing, and it's a bit of a strange feeling being in a cable car in a city rather than on a mountainside resort, ski resort, which is normally what most people are used to. But here in Chongqing, the locals actually use the cable car as a form of public transport to cross from one side of the river to the other. It's pretty cool. China's mightiest river, which is also the third longest in the world, is the Yangtze. Known in Chinese as the Changjiang, literally meaning long river. It was and is still very much of a port town, and even these days you can still witness cargo ships sailing along the Yangtze and Jianling rivers. As a busy river transport hub, the city, 2,400 kilometers upstream from Shanghai, lies at the gateway between eastern and southwestern China, and because of this, enjoys an enviable commercial advantage. One of the central areas of Chongqing is known as Chaotianmen, and it's a place which in many respects exemplifies the lifestyle of the people of Chongqing. It's laid back, relaxed, with groups of friends sitting everywhere, chatting away and watching the river flow nearby. I reckon I could easily get used to this tranquil way of life. One of the truest facts about Chongqing is that it evolves year on year. And if you want to keep up to date with these changes, head to the Chongqing Urban Planning Exhibition Centre. Now don't laugh, and certainly don't judge until you've been here. So I'm here at Chaotianmen at the Chongqing Urban Planning Exhibition Gallery. Now this kind of place may or may not be your cup of tea, but it's highly regarded and I've heard a lot of very good things about it. It's a chance to see how Chongqing was in the past, so the history of Chongqing, how Chongqing is right now in the very present, and how Chongqing hopefully will look in the future, which is what this miniature model in front of you will give you a chance to see. Chongqing 2020. In my mind, these types of places usually conjure up a nightmarish mix of maps, dust, books, boredom, and dare I say it, a contender for top 10 places not to take children. And now think of the exact opposite, and you have Chongqing's take on what an urban museum should be. It's the personification of fun for all ages. There's games everywhere that are effortlessly mixed with information so that everyone can take something away. Here you'll find all the information you need on the city. Interestingly, there seem to be as many local Chongqing people here as tourists, which is a testament to the museum. So, grab myself away for a second. I'm playing a very, very fun flying game where I've got a bird's eye view in a plane over the whole of Chongqing, and I get to learn a bit as well as I fly over certain places. Little bubbles come up and give me points, and I get to learn about that specific place. Who said urban planning was boring? This is awesome. Any of you who've been to the La Villette Science Park in Paris will appreciate how much fun learning can be. And this is absolutely true of this place. Even the most rambunctious little children will have a great time here. It has allied state-of-the-art technology with an emphasis on playability and, above all, fun. It's a fully hands-on experience, which is a treat for the eyes. There's also a plethora of information on the culture and traditions of Chongqing. Everything is short, sharp, and well thought out to keep you interested throughout. That's 21st century innovation for you. We've got how Chongqing used to look during the war in the 1940s, the Second World War, with some 3D virtual imagery and some miniature modelling behind. Woo. You'll get an idea of how alive Chongqing used to be. But in this respect, not a huge amount has changed. Certainly, the markets are very much brimming with life. There's something alluring about finding a place where everything is so fresh, and you just want to take as much of this organic produce home with you to cook up a feast. Don't miss out on the markets, even if it's just to buy some fresh fruit. There's definitely something mystical about this older part of town around the market. People of all ages can be seen wandering the streets, and you can almost taste the food in the air. I can't quite make a connection to any other city I've been to. Certainly not when you add the steepness factor in. The buzz, allied with the produce and methods of cooking, make this feel more like some ancient village than an area in one of China's largest cities. The contrast of having stick porters loaded with goods everywhere around also adds to this feeling.
Hey, 先生，你买什么？这个是什么？
冒一糖
毛叶糖。
啊，老蜜
是糖是吗？
啊，好，
啊，我买一个吧。
来一个吧，
多少？是1块钱吗？
块钱，
啊，
再来一个吧，好的，
我尝一下。
尝一下。
哇 So apparently some sort of sweet. Pretty good.
I have an absolute blast strolling around, taking in the atmosphere. It really is unique to say the least. It's so simple. The stroll is short-lived, however, as I need to carry on with my exploration of Chongqing. Back to the car and modern reality. Now, you may or may not have heard of General Joseph Stilwell, an American war hero who, you may be intrigued to know, is highly revered in this part of the world. He even has his own museum, which is definitely worth the detour. Tucked away on the side of a steep hill, you can find a stunning view from its courtyard, and the contrast of having wartime jeeps parked in this peaceful location is surreal to say the least. The museum is housed in the former residence of Stilwell himself, who lived here during parts of World War II. A fluent Mandarin speaker, Stilwell was the commander of the US forces in the China-India-Burma theatre. The museum is rather unique amongst Chinese historical sites in that it honours the US involvement in the Second World War. At the end of the day, you really feel like you've visited the home of a highly regarded war hero. It's as though Stilwell never really left. All his possessions are still faithfully kept in place. Photos adorn the walls, and I almost feel like I'm trespassing. I say almost because A, I'm not really, and B, it would be worth it if I was. Well, having had a chance to quickly stroll around, I feel like I've been transported back in time to the Second World War, to the 1940s, and I'm actually in the former residence of General Joseph Stilwell, who was sent here to Chongqing, to the wartime capital of China, to help coordinate the resistance against the Allied resistance against invading Japanese forces.